Today I'm gonna do either a pork butt or 2 pork butts and then 3 racks of ribs. The first thing we do is turn on our smoker. So we're gonna open this up, take a look at it, and see what we need to trim. As you can see, it looks like 2 individual pieces. We'll go ahead and pull these out. Unfortunately, they cut the bone out, which is beyond me. I don't know why. I mean, that's just wrong. See, they even left a piece of bone right here. So you gotta be careful. So when I pull these out, I put these on paper towels and throw the bag away just so I don't have a lot of liquid. You know, I don't like that, but we'll make it happen. We'll probably trim off some of this stuff. Little Klingons. That stuff will get removed. Let's look at this. Yeah, we'll pull this part off. Some of this extra stuff, we can probably cook it on the side, but it won't be pretty. I might trim some of this silver skin off just to be on the safe side. I really wish that bone was in there. Thanks, Costco. So I'm gonna kind of cook these like I cook my brisket. I'm gonna cook these fat side down until I'm ready to wrap them, and then I'm gonna cook them fat side up. We're not going to inject these, we're just going to season these. I'm gonna be using Recteq's honey rib rub today. I'm going to season on the inside here as well where the bone used to be, because it'll get a little bit more flavor on the inside. We're not using a binder today because these have been sitting out for a little bit and they're kind of moist. Yes, I use that word, moist. So make sure you coat all the sides. We've already got this on. I'm actually gonna add a little bit of this to it. This is my own rub. It's got salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, chipotle, and cayenne pepper in it. So when we put that on, that's gonna add a little more heat to it, a little more flavor. That's gonna offset some of the sweetness on these pork butts. So now that we've got these bad boys seasoned, we're gonna let them sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, let the liquid emulsify with some of the salts in here, and then get a nice little wet look to it. Thin white smoke, right? Am I right? So just got this the other day. It's a Recteq 700. Let's do a little walk around. So this is your wireless. Yes, I can control it through my phone. Set point's at 225. The actual is 224. I got 2 different probes here that I can use to stick our meat. So we're gonna do one in the pork butt. This is all stainless steel with the exception of this cover, which is powder coated. We've got a large cooking surface, and I've actually got a second shelf that I can put in here. And it's got a dome light. Yep, a dome light. So we're gonna go ahead and get our pork butts ready. So after about 30 minutes, you can see some of the moisture has been pulled out and the rub is starting to stick. That's a pretty good sign. We're gonna go ahead and bring these out and put these on the smoker. So we're sitting right about 225. That's our little tray. Go ahead and throw these on here. That's a good start. So I've got these loin back ribs from Costco. These are almost 3 pounds a piece. I don't like to get the really big ones because they have a lot of meat on the top of them and then they kind of cook funny. We'll probably go through and do some trimming on this. I'm gonna set these out right now. I'm probably gonna open these up in about an hour and a half, but I just wanna start to get them towards room temperature. You can see a few things I'm gonna trim off to tidy these things up a little bit. Remove some of this extra stuff. Probably trim this little piece off, square it up. This extra bone sitting here, we're gonna probably cut it here, right here. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So the silver skin was a little bit harder than I wanted to take off. Usually it's pretty easy. Maybe I let these sit out for too long, getting warm. So I just cross-hatched them, and they will get a nice little texture while we cook them. So we are gonna season them up because they're nice and soft and pliable. I don't think they need a binder right now. So let's get to putting some rub on it. So I'm starting with my all-purpose seasoning that I made. I like a lot of flavor in my food, so I'm not being light on this. So I got two. I've got Screaming Pig rub, which has a little bit of heat, and I've got honey rub. So I'm gonna do two with the honey rub and then one with the Screaming Pig. Screaming Pig is gonna be more of a Memphis style. Go ahead and pat these in, flip them over. Now I'm going to trim this off. Honey rub for the first two. Screaming Pig rub for the third. Make sure you make a mess, okay? Now we're gonna let these things sit for 15 to 30 minutes. So we're still on. Set at 225, actual is 225, which is good. We're about 2 hours in. Don't expect to see much difference. We're getting a little bit of color on there. Probably gonna be another 3 hours before we're actually ready to wrap. So look at that beautiful meat. Now that these seasonings have worked its way in and pulled some of that moisture out, mixing with that salt, as you start to cook it, it should pull that salt back in. All right, we're getting some good color. Bark's starting to set up a little bit. We've got these. Let's go ahead and put these on. Look at that, you can put an entire rack of ribs front to back. It squishies up, get them a little thicker. Look at that, sun just came out. Look at that, that's beautiful. If you've never had one of these, they're great lawnmower beers or barbecue beers. So we've got 4 hours on our pork shoulders, and then we've got an hour and a half on our ribs. Let's take a peek. This one's sitting at about 135. This one's sitting at about 125 because it's a little bit bigger. Starting to get some nice color on this. We're about ready to wrap our ribs, the two of them at least. One of them we're doing Memphis style. The other two we already started with our honey rib rub. I'm going to add a little bit of that on there. I'm going to use some of this Parquet Easy Squeeze margarine, a little bit of Memphis style barbecue because why not, a little bit of honey, and a little bit of brown sugar. We'll put a little bit of those on either side. So let's go ahead and get that first rib. These look pretty good. Got a nice bark on it. Underside looks pretty good. I don't want tons. We're gonna put enough on here to sweeten it up. Put some honey on here. Some of this Easy Squeeze. A little bit of this Memphis barbecue. And a little more of our honey rib rub. Go ahead and flip it over. Do the same thing on this side. Alright, let's put some honey drizzle on top, make it pretty. It's all going to mix together in the smoker anyway, but it's alright. Hopefully I left enough for the next one. Put a little bit of Memphis sauce on here. Then more of a rib rub. Gonna do 2 of them. Hold it back. Make it nice and tight. We're gonna put this on the grill. We're gonna get the other one. So, same thing as before. All right. Top of some sweet rub. Beautiful. Now let's get her wrapped up. Nice and tight. We got this one here sitting about 148, 150. Gonna wrap her soon. She's starting to leak out. We've got that stall that's about to hit. We want to wrap it up before we get through the stall so we don't lose any moisture. This one here is a little bit more. She's about 130. Got these 2 wrapped, and this is our Memphis style rib. Sometimes you can spray it. I'm gonna try it without spraying it this time to see what happens. I've got a mixture of some apple juice and some Dr. Pepper moonshine. Yeah, don't ask. Got my own beer, that's for the inside of me to inject. I've got my injector, and we're gonna go ahead and pull this butt. So that's kind of pretty. She's starting to render out, started getting juicy. Got a nice bark on her that I'm happy with. That's the biggest thing. Once you're happy with the bark, you pull it. I'm going to go ahead and inject some of this stuff into the butt. You don't need tons and tons. It'll squirt some. You don't want to lose it. I said I was going to do fat side up, so we're going to do that. This is the fattier side. You get it in there and make sure it's nice and tight. Let's put it on the smoker. So that's with your shelf installed. We're going to have a little bit more smoke flowing over there. This is where the drip pan is. This is where the exhaust is. I'm seeing a little bit cooler temperatures here and right here. So that's just my first impression of the grill. Center portion is a little bit warmer. Of course, you got the fire from the bottom, so that's just my assessment. All right, I'm gonna go put on my glove and I'm gonna go grab this other butt. So 147. Woo, that's noisy. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? That's beautiful. So, got a nice bark on here. It's crusted on. It's not coming off. That's the kind of bark I want to see. That. Oh, it's got a good flavor. So, anyway, same thing before.
Do a little bit of injection here and there.
This added moisture is only going to help it. So our ribs are about done, at least the 2 that are wrapped up. Sweet ribs, we're going to pull them out. We're going to put them back on the smoker, but we're going to glaze them with a little bit of Memphis sauce and a little bit of gourmet barbecue sauce because it's a little bit thinner. Has a little more of a vinegar bite to it. We don't need a lot. We're going to mix it up, and then we're going to microwave it, get it warm. We don't want to put a bunch of cold stuff right onto a hot thing of ribs. So let's heat this up and meet you out at the smoker. Don't know if I'll need 2 hands for this because I know they're going to be tender. They've been on for 2 hours in here and then 3 hours or 2.5 hours open. Let's see what we got. Look at that. Those beautiful ribs. Certainly they are tender. Yeah, they're certainly ready. Let's flip it, see what we got. Yeah, we definitely have a little bit of turn to the bone. These things are ready to glaze. See if I can do this without breaking them. We're just gonna glaze it. need to be a thick coat. That's pretty good, what we want. Let's go ahead and pour some of these juices out. There's not tons of juices, but we'll put these beautiful ribs on for about another 15, 20 minutes. So we've got these ribs here. Let's do this first. Those beautiful ribs. These almost ready. They are not quite ready. I'm gonna let them go for another 15 minutes. All right, so we got this stuff kind of tacked up a little bit. Looks lovely. We're gonna pull this off, hopefully one-handed. We're gonna place it on our pan. Let's check this. We are not ready. A little bit of bend, it's getting there, but not quite there. We're gonna pull this off. This should be done and ready to go. You can just bend it. These pieces of meat are just starting to pull apart. Super flexible. That means it's done. I don't even need to turn it over. You can feel it just bend under its own weight. So let's go ahead and pour a little bit of this sauce on. And we will brush it in. Just give it a nice little beautiful glaze. Make it look pretty. It's going to give a little bit of a sweet and vinegary bite to it. Now we're going to roll the edges in. Now if that's not a beautiful rack of ribs, I don't know what is. Let it rest and then we'll slice it. I want to kind of cut it without causing any issues. I'm going to cut it in bones of 2. I'm going to cut it. That's not working so well. I know I'll probably mess up the glaze, but that's all right. Gentle with it. This large end is actually quite tender. So let's flip this back over. After I pretty much destroyed it. So let's take a look at this. See if we can focus it. Got some nice smoke ring. There, let's get one of these middle pieces. Kind of same. See how it turns out. Holds together. Clean off the bone. Not too bad. I like it. It's not mush. It's got a good bite to it. I don't hate this at all. That's a rib. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? I didn't spray anything on it. They just naturally turned out like this. We're about ready. Got some good flex on it because it's never been wrapped. It's going to be a little bit tougher. It's going to be a little drier. But somebody who I respect in the cooking community told me not to spray it. It would naturally glaze up like this. I wasn't so sure. Apparently he's 100% correct. beautiful. I don't know. Is there another way to do ribs? Let's take a look at the underside. Yeah, there's not enough pull back there. It's been on for at least 7 hours, so it's a little long for me for a rib, but it has been sitting at 225. So we'll let her go for a little bit more and check her then. No spray, no sugar, just a paprika-based seasoning, smoke, and thyme. This is what I've been told is a Memphis style rib. So let's take a look at one of these, see if we can find a smoke ring. Looks pretty good to me. What do you think? So we got these pork butts out. They finally reached around 200 degrees and probe tender. Just take a peek at it. Lots of liquid in here. I like to retain the liquid, as you can see. Just going through like there's nothing there. Internal, we want to wait until about 175 or lower. She's sitting about 176, 178. So we're going to wait another 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to pull her. So I'm going to take this, transfer it into another pan. Well, there's that. I guess it's tender. Looks like it still has a good texture. It's not completely mush. Got some good smoke permeation. Let's get this other side in here. We'll get it all mixed in, and then we'll pull out the fatty pieces. Looks like a lot of this rendered fat will actually mix in quite well. I don't think I could have done it any better, do you? I'm sure you can. If you do have a better way of doing this, let me know. See this? This can probably, you know what? And we'll put that off to the side. Somebody's gonna want that piece. It's probably gonna be me. All right. We got the second one. This one took a little bit longer. There it is. Here it is. I guess that's a good sign too. All right, let's flip it over. If I can't, well, shoot, let's just shred it. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't hate this one bit. Thanks for watching. If you have an opinion or a thought that maybe I can do something better, or maybe something you liked or something you didn't like, I'd like to hear your opinion. I'm learning every day, every time I do a cook, and every time I talk to somebody about barbecue, I certainly learn something. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. Maybe together we can grow the barbecue community. Peace out.